So yeah, good evening to all of you. All of you are present here. So I concluded World War One last class. So I'll be beginning with the next chapter, which is about World War Two. World War Two. Just like I mentioned earlier, there are things that tie directly to World War Two. So if you have any doubts regarding the previous topic, you may ask it now. So any questions?
No, sir.
Good.
No, sir.
That's very good. So yeah, I'll be moving on. So, do any of you have what the faintest idea of World War Two is all about?
Yes, sir. The need of power, the
That was actually one of the primary cause of both World War One and World War Two. As we discussed earlier, the ambitions of countries and the people within it can't be stopped by non-violent means, and oftentimes that causes things to escalate. So yeah, we'll be moving forward. So World War Two or the Second Great War lasted from 1939 till 1945. It was even bigger than World War One and saw battles and wars throughout almost all of the continents except for Antarctica, of course. Of course, it was much more grander in scale, and it and the violence of World War Two was also on a large, unprecedented level. Many people died due to the ambitions of their leaders. Many people died fighting for their ideology. Many people died fighting for the ideology, whether it be fascism or capitalism or communism. And many people to this date are still divided over the aftermath of World War Two. So yeah, do you guys have any uh, questions? Do you guys have any questions? If not, then I shall be moving on. So yeah, I'll be screen sharing now. Mhm. So yeah, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, just like I said before, in the previous class, World War One was concluded by the Treaty of Versailles. Just like I said, the Treaty of Versailles was a harsh treaty. Uh, It it blamed Germany for the entirety of World War One and argued that Germany should be responsible for everything and that it should face the brunt of the treaty. At the end of the First World War, a treaty was signed between the Allied group and Germany, where Germany was badly humiliated. Germany was essentially forced to accept the treaty. It had no say in the treaty. It had to abandon its military essentially. It had to stop its weapons manufacturing, and it also had to pay a large sum of money to the allies as war compensation. As you can see, it was 660 million pounds. 660 million pounds was no ordinary sum at the time. It was actually a huge sum. And Germany at the state in which it was after World War One would take a lot of time to fully pay the compensation. In fact, if I recall correctly, Germany fully paid the compensation to France in this decade. So yeah, try to imagine how large this sum of money was. This almost felt like an impossible sum to the German people, and as such they were very much humiliated. And as such they were very much humiliated, and they felt angry towards the allied powers, most namely France originally was on the losing side during the German unification war, and hence just like how France was humiliated, it projected its humiliation on the German people, and that led to a cycle of violence, cycle of and a cy- and a cycle of violence. So yeah, this feeling of revenge and nationalism increased tenfold after World War One, and that led to the support for Adolf Hitler, who we'll talk about later on, as he's a pivotal figure in World War Two. World War Two, Adolf Hitler would go on to violate this treaty, violate this treaty, and that would cause a war, the Second World War. So yeah, we'll be moving on to the next cause. These are numbered correctly, so please bear with me. So yeah, just like I said, after World War One, Woodrow Wilson, the President of the United States, established the League of Nations. League of Nations was essentially the precursor to the United Nations. It sought to prevent another great war from breaking out. However, as you all are aware, they failed in doing that. They failed in doing that. While Woodrow Wilson was the one who came up with the idea of League of Nations, his country USA never became the part of League of Nations, for the US Senate blocked his motion to for America to join League of Nations, and as such the United States remained isolationist even after World War One. However, it was slowly beginning to open up to globalism. At the end of World War One, the United States of America was slowly beginning to rise in terms of development, and was slowly becoming a world power. The powers such as Germany, United Kingdom, and France, since they were thoroughly weakened by the first war, they rapidly declined, while the USA increased in terms of technology and prosperity. Since United States was probably the only major country who remained unscathed throughout the entirety of World War One, it's the fact that it didn't join League of Nations thoroughly weakened League of Nations as a whole, since it needed a powerful backing in order to enforce its demands, and as such, the failure of the United States to join League of Nations would culminate in Second World War. So a rise of Hitler and militarism. After World War One, the German people suffered from several problems like unemployment, poverty was rampant, inflation was high. In fact, inflation was so high that a simple loaf of bread cost many Reichmarks, or the German currency at the time. The inflation was so bad that people that the inflation was so bad that it caused a domino effect in almost all of the world, that would eventually lead on to the Great Depression in the US as well. However, we'll talk about that later on. However, as for now, the German people, the German people, did, the German people wished to see a more stronger Germany, and as such, they supported Adolf Hitler, who claimed to stand for what Germany stood for, and he said that he would make Germany and all its peoples great again. And as such, militarism and nationalism began to eventually rise, and it would culminate in ideologies such as National Socialism and Fascism. Fascism. So yeah, uh, as soon as Adolf Hitler gained popular support from the people, he violated the Treaty of Versailles. He established numerous arms and military industrial complexes, which became the major source of employment for many German people. More German people. He also violated the treaty by not paying war compensation to France, France. So yeah, it caused the people to have confidence in Adolf Hitler. They thought that he would truly turn the tide around for Germany, and as such, he got majority support in the German parliament. And as soon as he got popular support, he dissolved the parliament, and was the mastermind behind the Night of the Long Knives, where most of his political opponents were brutally killed or assassinated after he became the dictator or Führer of Germany. He captured Rhineland from France. As you can see, France took back the territories of Alsace and Lorraine from Germany, and the territories surrounding Alsace and Lorraine are known as Rhineland. He captured back Rhineland from France. He increased his army and annexed Czechoslovakia. He annexed Czechoslovakia, which originally caused which originally caused wait uh, so yeah, I'll resume from where I left. Also, yeah, when Hitler originally annexed Czechoslovakia, the allies of Czechoslovakia, namely the United Kingdom, were originally threatened. However, the Prime Minister of United Kingdom at the time, Lord Chamberlain, originally thought that he could convince Hitler to lay down his militarism and return back Czechoslovakia. However, he failed in doing that, and as such, the weakness of the United Kingdom and the lack of decisiveness from other allies caused Czechoslovakia to be annexed by Germany, and as such, that would lead to an all-out war in the European front. After annexing Czechoslovakia, Hitler attacked Austria, for he thought of Austrians as Germans who annexed by the who should have been annexed by the Weimar Republic, and as such, the aggressive activities of Hitler and his militarism became the cause of Second World War. Moving on, as I said earlier, there was an inflation crisis in Germany. Not only in Germany, it was rampant throughout the world. The economies of United Kingdom and France declined. However, in the United States, the economy hit an all-time high. Prosperity, the prosperity of the people and the country, however, soon became soon became a bad thing. For for every good thing comes to an end eventually, and that is especially the case with the economy, which is extremely volatile. The United States economy crashed because because the people were too prosperous. So, and that led to the Great Depression, which affected almost every country in the world. This economic recession was originally caused due to the lack of manpower in the European front. Lack of manpower in the European front. Lack of production in factories led to more hunger and starvation. Many of Germany's factory, which lied in the Rhineland region, was annexed by France. Hence, as such, most German people were unemployed and poverty was rampant. In such times, dictators won the heart of their peoples by making great speeches about nationalism and populism. And as such, Hitler came to power in Germany. Franco, Francisco Franco came to power in Spain, and Benito Mussolini in Italy. All of them claimed to stand for the people and for their country, and as such, economic crisis was one of the major cause of the Second World War. So yeah, wait. So yeah, the immediate cause of the Second World War was Germany's attack on Poland. After annexing Czechoslovakia and Austria, the the British and the French were too weak and indecisive eh, to prevent Hitler from invading Poland as well. Poland initially had the mm, assurance from Britain that in case of an attack by Germany, they would have they would have United Kingdom in the war. However, when that became a reality in 1939, when Hitler demanded Danzig and the Polish corridor, so so that led to an invasion of Poland. To divide up Poland, Hitler signed a treaty with the Soviet Union, which was the Nazi Soviet pact. Pact, in which both countries agreed to divide Poland and the Baltic countries and annex it respectively. So on 1st September 1939, Hitler invaded Poland. However, Britain and France were originally indecisive, so it took a while for them to declare war against Germany. However, by that time it was too late, and Chamberlain was too indecisive and too weak to prevent the rise of Hitler and Nazi Germany. So, yeah, rise of communism. Just like I said earlier, Russia dropped down from the First World War due to the Russian Revolution, which saw the Russian Empire adopt communism. The Tsar was deposed and executed. His family was executed, and Vladimir Lenin soon came to power in now no in the Soviet territory. The influence of communism soon spread widely around the world because of the Russian Revolution. To stop the influence in Europe, Japan, to stop the influence of communism in Europe and Asia, respectively, Japan and Germany signed a treaty in 1936 called the Anti-Comintern Pact. Even the Nazi Germany originally signed a pact with the Soviet Union. It was meant to be temporary the Nazi Germany. For Nazi Germany, viewed Soviet Union to be to be governed by scheming Jewish Bolsheviks, and as such, he decided to stab Soviet Union in the back. Back in 1937, in 1937, Benito Mussolini's fascist Italy joined the Anti-Comintern Pact, and it was known as Rome, Berlin, Tokyo Axis. This coalition hence gets the name from this axis. It was known as the Axis powers. After the formation of this pact, Italy soon started vying for a power in Africa, most notably in Ethiopia. Originally, the Ethiopians had defeated Italians, and that was a major source of embarrassment for the Italians. For in Europe, it was widely regarded as them being defeated by a primitive nation, quote unquote primitive nation. And as such, Italy invaded Ethiopia with full force and annexed it, and made and half annexed it. It didn't annex it fully. It didn't turn it into a colony whatsoever, since the people kept resisting and half of the country was still independent. And as such, we can't say Ethiopia was really colonized. So yeah, Italy started its own ambitions in Africa, whereas Japan quickly expanded itself throughout Asia and became a brutal imperial power. It annexed lands in Chinese Manchuria. Over false flag incidents, it annexed Philippines, and slowly appeared to be attacking the British colonies in Asia. As I said earlier, Britain and France were indecisive. They did not pay attention to this. They just thought that the Axis would we're just a friend we're just an alliance meant to stop communism. However, the Axis eventually fulfilled another interest of theirs, which was to spread their ideology all around the world, and make their countries and their people the superior out of the rest. And as such, the interest of theirs caused a disturbance in world peace.